When I was 10 years old, I started my first unofficial business, might I add, and I made 800 euros in profit. 10 years ago, in 2012, I really wanted to start helping people and start a business, but I didn't know how to. And it took some encouraging words from my brother to actually get started on building my own business. And I started coaching people for free so I could learn how to coach people. And in today's podcast episode, I want to walk you through the different things I've done throughout my life, from selling things with a smile at 10 years old to working in a shoe store at 15 to actually, building a booming business and my online business from 2012 and then like onwards. So if you're interested in the different things that have helped me get to a point of financial independence in my life, in my business, listen to this episode of the Fast Forward Amy Show. Hello, and welcome to the Fast Forward Amy Show, the show where we lift your life and business with simple strategies. I'm Fast Forward Amy, your host and coach, and I'll bring you a new episode every Tuesday. A while back, I posted a video of my indoor pool online. I posted this on TikTok first because on TikTok I have no shame. I don't really care what people think of me. And the video did really well. And I was talking about how I became financially independent and how I bought myself my own house with an indoor pool. And I figured out, okay, the video is doing well. So I posted it to my Instagram account. And someone texted me, "But how did you make your money?" And I was like, oh, that's right. For people who haven't followed me for 10 years, which obviously almost no one has followed me for 10 years, it's totally not clear how I've actually gotten to this point. And it's not just a story of scaling in the past 3 years, but it's been a story of entrepreneurship for the past 10 years, or actually even 19 years, because when I was 10 years old, I started my first little business. Now, I'm not going to go back 19 years, but today I want to talk to you about basically how I made my money, or if you want to say it in more clickbaity terms, literally how I got rich. My coach used to say this to me, like, do you realize you're rich now? And that made me really uncomfortable to talk about it like that. There's a lot of money mindset stuff you need to work through as you're growing financially. But I decided to just record this podcast episode to share with you how I made my money in the past 10 years and what my 10-year not so overnight success story is. So welcome to this new podcast episode. This is a little bit of a different format. It's the beginning of summer. Summer is my absolute favorite period of the year. I can just feel inspiration flowing. I always love traveling, and I know that I also get the most done when I'm just in really inspired places. So this is kind of the date, beginning of July for me is always the time when I feel most inspired to do things. 10 years ago, around this time, in the month of July in 2012, I realized I wanted to help people achieve what they thought they couldn't achieve. Back then, I was really into fitness and, just like general self-development in your body and your health. And I had realized after becoming really fit myself that a lot of people were really struggling with getting fit. And my life philosophy is you can achieve anything you want. And I wanted to teach other people how to do this. So that's what I set out to do. I didn't know if I was good enough to become a personal trainer, to actually help people with their own fitness goals and become stronger. But I thought, you know what, let's give it a try. I was really afraid to start with my oldest brother, Timothy. He said, I think you could be really good at this, and it's okay that you still don't know a lot of things. You're already going to help people so much just by sharing with them the things that you've learned to do. So, okay, I set out to start learning more things, to get a degree. At the same time, I was in university, and I wanted to prove myself and my value and see if I could actually get people results. So by August 2012, is that how we say it? No, 2020 would be great, but 2012 is what I'm going to say. I got a few non-paying fitness clients as test subjects. A funny story, my dad was one of them. He was absolutely my hardest client to date to coach. He still is really difficult to coach, by the way. I help him, me and my team, we actually go produce his podcast, the Business Dad podcast, and I still think he's difficult to manage. I have to say this, but maybe the thing that I need to remind myself of is that back then having free clients as test subjects is It taught me so much. It taught me so much more than any course I could have taken, because you can know a lot about health, about fitness, about food, nutrition, but you need to know how you can actually manage people, manage clients, how you can get people to take the next steps. And I learned a ton from just coaching people for free. So I was doing multiple jobs at the same time. I was in university at the time. I studied business engineering, is what we call it in Belgium. And obviously, I had to find ways to pay for my education. So, working in a coffee shop, doing lots of babysitting jobs, working at bars, stuff like that. I've always worked a ton, and I needed to pay for my fitness education and the equipment that I needed. So, step by step, I remember like working in a coffee shop, earning 50 euros, and then going to the gym store to then spend those 50 euros on a kettlebell, for example. And that's how I slowly started building up all of my equipment. And I set a really clear target for myself. By the time I started, I wanted to have 6 clients per week. I had calculated that, I think back then it was 6 clients. I was thinking of 30 euros an hour. So I thought, if I have 6 clients a week and I do this 4 weeks a month, then I'm making around 800 euros extra a month. That would be really, really, really amazing. So I wanted to have 6 clients per week by the time I started, but I first had exams and stuff. And yeah, I mean, I had to plan that by the first week of February I could start, So my free clients actually were already really doing well. And I had this goal, or I had this vision in mind. Like, I want them to meet people and for other people to be like, holy shit, you're looking great, or you look radiant. How did you get those results? And I wanted them to refer to me as like, oh yeah, I trained with Amy. And that everyone in my neighborhood would get this feeling of like, oh, I wish I trained with Amy. And that vision really helped me get to a certain point, because even before the time I was officially going to get started, I already started getting phone calls from people. And they were asking me like, hey, can I train with you? So by then I was a bit more educated, and I was like, yeah, after my exams, you can start in February. So I actually already started having people lined up to start coaching with me. So by then, February rolled around. I do want to add that period before, I just said it, that I was coaching people for free. But I get this question so often, like, hey, Amy, I have no experience. How can I prove my worth to people? I already want to raise my prices, but I don't have clients yet. In the beginning, you kind of have to pay your dues. I'm not going to say you have to work for free, but it's what I did to gain experience. A lot of people want to set insanely high prices from the get-go. I get that. I get that you want to become financially independent and you want to make good money. That's my whole thing that I teach people how to do. But know that your experience is always the thing that is going to be the non-negotiable, is that you need to know how to actually get people to a next step, no matter what you do. If you're selling products, like if you're selling a phone case that's shock-proof, make sure, okay, by the way, can you see that I'm also recording a backup audio on my phone? Yeah? Is it very disturbing? No? So if you're listening, I'm in the studio in my house right now, and we've kind of reset up the entire studio, and I put a backup audio recording on my phone, which is lying next to me, because if something fails with the other files, at least I have the audio file ready for me, because it's lying here on my on the seat I'm sitting in. And iPhones actually have amazing audio quality. So that means if you want to start your own podcast, you want to take your own next steps, you don't necessarily have to start investing in really expensive equipment from the get-go. You can actually record just on your phone, even without the microphone, if you want to get started. I always apply the 80-20 principle to everything I do. So that means for me, if we lose the video, if we lose the good audio, then instead of re-recording this, I will just simply use that audio file that I have here on my phone. That's my backup. I like sharing these little behind the scenes things, and I like triggering you to think about what can you change to do differently, and how can you make things easier for yourself, and maybe put a little less pressure on having everything be perfect. So maybe you wanted to start a podcast, or you want to make videos and you're thinking that you need to hire a videographer for that. My advice is just get started with the equipment you already have. If you're listening to this podcast, I'm thinking you also have a smartphone, and that means you could start your own podcast. Oh, by the way, I have a guide about how you can start your own show. If that is something you would be interested in, I know how very confusing it can be. Like, which equipment do I use? How often do I post about my show? Where do I get started? I wrote down all of the steps I took to start my own Fast Forward Amy show podcast in this case, but maybe for you it could be a video series. And you can go and grab that guide through fastforwardamy.com/start your show. It's really good. It would have saved me a ton of time if I would have used that. So that's my free gift to you. Okay, so I was obsessed basically. I was working for free. I was getting that experience, because if you ask me what do I do if I don't have experience, go and get yourself some experience and maybe work for free for a while, or at a lower rate. At least you're getting paid to learn, which is, I think that's already a really good thing. And then by February, I started working with the paying clients who had contacted me because of the amazing results my free clients got, and obviously because I was also open to receiving new clients and I had set that target for myself. They came in through the influence and recommendation of the people I had coached for free because they were so satisfied. And I remember getting that first phone call, I think it was in November, of someone who wanted to sign up for February, I was so nervous. Just having a sales phone call, just, putting it in the calendar that she was going to start training with me and do the initial intake, I almost beat my pants. And I remember my parents saying like, oh, this is so good that you get to practice this now, because most people only start having phone calls with people or clients after university. But I was only my second year of university, so I was already getting experience, not just from coaching people, but also of how to run a business and do sales and marketing from a really early age. And I started working with that client at 30 euros a session. And from there on out, my business basically skyrocketed. It was a huge pain point. A lot of people didn't feel fit. They didn't know what to do. I wanted to help people get off of the get fit quick schemes. I wanted them to learn about proper nutrition, about strength training. And this was all before I used Instagram for my business. I didn't even want to be on Instagram. I didn't use it personally. I didn't want to post pictures of myself. I thought that was too, like ego tripping. But my clientele grew purely through word of advertising my fully offline business. And this is the thing, platforms might change, but humans don't. And word of mouth will always be your primary marketing tool if you want to attract new clients. So to this day, we still have a customer first policy in my business. By now, I'm not alone anymore. At this moment, we are serving hundreds of clients. Soon, I hope to be serving thousands of clients at the same time. And we have customer first policy in my business, which means that when we get 2 emails at the same time, one from a potential client and one from a current client who, for example, can't find a login or something, we will also always answer the client first and then the lead, because we think our clients are the most important thing. We have a very high retention rate of our clients too. Our customer lifetime value is really high, and this is because we value our existing clients before we spend time on new clients. For me as a CEO, I'm going to add an extra layer on top of this, because this might help you in your business right now. I have realized, this was actually last week, that I have 3 different phases in how I look at my business. I have a team first policy. This is like Richard Branson says, if you take care of your team will take care of your clients. So I'm focused on my team, and then we look at our clients, and then we look at our leads. This also means that I've always focused more on the inside of my business, on my offerings, on improving everything there, on my current team members, and later we focus on marketing. At the same time, that's a challenge, because obviously if you spend more time or focus first on leads, you might get better at lead generation. But I don't believe in getting leads for a service that is not optimal. So I recommend having a customer first policy in your business, because word of mouth is always going to be your best advertising tool. And yeah, we still use it to this day. So business boomed. This was 2013 then, and soon it was time for me to find my own location to see my clients, because I couldn't keep going to people's houses, So I rented an apartment that I started using as a mini gym for private sessions with my clients. This was kind of like a private gym studio. So that also meant my costs had gone up, because I wasn't just seeing people in their homes anymore. I had more bills to pay. I was already providing for myself at that time, financially and school-wise and like groceries. But I also had more costs for my business than at that point. So I soon realized like, oh, my pricing is off because I was working my ass off from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. And, by the end of the week, I was just totally beat. And, it paid off. By the end of the week, I had made money because I saw so many people. But being beat by the end of the week and then having a ton of clients when there are no, holidays, that's great. But then when there are holidays, all of a sudden all of your clients are gone on vacation. And if you're working super hard, you are gonna turn a profit by the end of the week. But if you work normal people hours, you're not gonna make enough money. So I started realizing that I couldn't go on like this. And I started thinking, maybe I should start increasing my price because I already also had paid my dues. And I knew my coaching and my training was actually worth more by that time than it was in the beginning of my experience. I had realized I needed to increase my price. And at the time, I had started a little mastermind group with friends of mine. We were called the Brainstorm Chasers. And we met like once a month, just a couple of friends and I. And we would just ask each other questions like, hey, I'm struggling with this. How would you deal with this? And one of my friends in that group advised me to not raise my price because this person told me I shouldn't do that because that was not fair to my clients and I should just stick to my price because that's what I had agreed to set out to do. Now, this sounded really weird to me because I was like, so that would mean I would have to work at the same price for the rest of my life? This does not seem like a good business decision. So I decided, other people aren't always going to have the same vision as you have. So I was like, thank you for your advice, and I'm not going to follow it. So I did increase my price and I reduced my hours. I remember a different friend telling me, John, by the way, I'm still friends with him, from the fitness industry, John Woods, my friend. I'm going to tell him I put him in this podcast. We were just chatting last night, so this is fun. He told me on the phone, Amy, there's this quote I once heard from someone saying that if you double your rate, you're not going to lose half your clients. And now I didn't double my rate. But the point was that if you increase your price, you're still going to be, if you lose a few clients, you're still going to be working less hours and making more money basically because you won't lose half of your clients if you would double your price. Okay, I told my existing clients the price increase is gonna come, like in a few months, and to new clients, I just told the new rates. And I also reduced my hours because, I realized by then, like, hey, maybe I don't want to work 6 days a week and go to university full time because I was doing two things full time: my full time business engineering degree, and I was coaching people. I think more than like around 30 hours a week, but I also had like 36 hours of classes a week. So I really had to shift things around. At the time, I would already start making deals with fellow students of mine. I would agree with them like for a 12-week course in university, I would pay like the best student of my class for their notes. I would pay them like 50 euros and I would be working at the time. And then I had really good notes. They were really happy because that's normally not some like in that time of your life, you don't get 50 euros just for your notes. And I was happy because I knew I was paying someone well for something they were already doing and I was getting paid and I could provide for myself. And, it's just really efficient and I love efficiency. But at the time, I was like, even with not going to class all the time, it was just too much. So I did a little makeover on my calendar and my organization, and I started time blocking more. I started batching my coaching and taking some time back to work on my business and also on my school things because I didn't just have exams and heavy periods there. I also had a ton of assignments, and it seemed like I was always putting out fires, and I didn't want to do that anymore. So I really started changing things around when I noticed like, your energy is a bit off. That makes sense, right? I wasn't even partying a lot. I was just working and building my future. So I changed things. I made this ideal week calendar for myself, thinking, okay, I only want to work 3 days a week. I calculated 15 minutes in between clients. So someone would come, for example, from 8 to 9, and then the next client would come at 9:15. So there was 15 minutes in between. I could have a bathroom break. Clients wouldn't run into each other. And I don't know, it was just getting better and better. And more efficient time management finally got me to a point where I was I was giving a higher quality service. So the higher quality service led to even more people reaching out. I had more time left over for myself, and that I could then spend on getting my degree. And I was able to choose who I wanted to work with because I had a long waiting list. This is still pre Instagram. This is still pre online advertising. A lot of people ask me, yeah, but you do for online businesses. And yeah, my specialty is helping you build an online reputation for your online business because we can scale that to the max. But in true essence, like that's what I like doing. But I have like 80% of my clients either have an offline business or do offline advertising, or it doesn't really matter. That's what I want to say. If you have something you're selling to clients, you can use social media for that. But it's about getting people to buy from you, about marketing the things you're really good at. And it doesn't matter if you're working online, offline. We just gotta get people to the thing that you're selling, right? That's what we do. And so this was pre-Instagram. I made good money, and I had time to work on the future of my business and my school degree. But I just don't really care about the school degree. I have a master's degree in business now, and I always said I don't know yet if I'm happy I got that degree. I think it definitely helped me with my analytical thinking. For people from Belgium listening, the degree is called handelsingenieur in de beleidsinformatica. So I know a lot about IT stuff, but they don't teach you how to run a business, how to start a business. At the moment, sometimes with my team, it helps that I have that degree. I don't know. Are they happy I have that degree? I don't know. Other people on my team are gesturing at me like, we don't know. It helped me shape more of my analytical thinking. Other than that, I think 5 years is a fuckload of a time to learn things that you can't remember a lot about. And I don't like the way schools teach you things. It's way too theoretical. They're not focused on action. I thought it was really stupid that in a business thing, I couldn't choose to, be a working student and not go to class. I had a lot of mandatory classes. There wasn't even like an option for me to work more as a student, which brings me to a really important point, by the way. Before I move forward with this, my talk about how I got rich, I want to tell you something because I have a really exciting surprise, actually. I think by now you probably know I'm really passionate about helping people become financially independent. And it's something that it's driven me for such a long time. Like a piece of this story I'm not talking about is my parents went through difficult times financially. I was providing for myself from a really young age. And I'm really grateful that those things happened. That got me to this point where I have been able to provide more for myself and for other families and my employees and other people for such a long time. And I'm really proud of that. And I just said it, but this is something they don't teach you at school. I disagree with that, by the way. Like in high school, they don't teach you about relationships. They don't teach you enough about sex. They don't teach you about health. They don't teach you about money. And I disagree. I feel like we should all be taught this stuff from a really young age. And I want to change this. I want to do better than the schools I hate. Sorry, not sorry. I think the government should be doing better. And if no one else is going to do it, me and my team are going to do it. So this summer, we are hosting a business school to get our own audience and hopefully your friends and family to their own place of financial independence. So we're hosting a business summer school right now. We're going to do this for free the first time as we are making it. Later on, it's going to be a paid product that is going to be for you to learn how you can take your own first steps to financial independence. And I want to invite you to my business school. So basically, the whole thing here is like what the schools aren't doing. Me and my team, we want to do that with you. And this summer, we're going to be doing that for free. So if you are looking to get a better grip on your finances, if you want to know where is your money going, how are you earning money, spending money, could you invest more in yourself, in your health, where do you start, which goals do you set, how ambitious do you go, do you need a personal brand, do you need to advertise yourself, like how the fuck can you become financially independent and take your first steps there, or get a grip on yourself again if you've maybe fallen off the wagon? That is what we're going to do with you in the business school by the Fast Forward Academy. The link is fastforwardamy.com/bus, which is easy, or just go to fastforwardamy.com/business school. If you're listening to this later, like after summer. By the way, the business school is going to be a product that we're going to be offering. So we're basically inviting our existing audience to join us for free in the creation process of this, so we can get you to a point of financial independence. And if you're listening to this later on, you can go ahead and buy the product so you can start taking your first steps to financial independence. So I linked it up in the description of this episode. And otherwise, you can just go to fastforwardamy.com/buzz. Now, where was I? I was hating on schools. Right. So I still don't know if I'm happy I went to university. I don't know. How do you feel about that? Is that something? Are you proud of the degree you got? If you have a degree, I don't necessarily believe in degrees. I think I'm allowed to say that because I have a degree. I'm really curious about this. I'm going to ask this on my stories, actually. Does your degree help you in your daily life? If you have one, if you don't have one, do you regret not going to school? I can imagine maybe if you didn't get the opportunity, you might actually feel jealous or a little bit irritated if I say stuff like this. So I'm curious what your opinion is about that. Let me know on Instagram. I'm going to do a little poll or just mention it in your stories. I also want to reach a lot of people, obviously, with this free business school we're hosting. So if you want to share this episode so other people can find out how they can become financially independent or even just rich, share the episode on your stories and let me know what your opinion is on university and like college and all of that shit. I was doing well. I was at school, but I was also getting more and more high-powered women as clients, and demand kept rising. Still no social media use for sales and marketing. So at a certain point, I increased my prices to 70 euros an hour, and I was working 3 days a week. That was my ideal week. I had created that vision for myself. I'd worked towards it, and within 6 months of creating that vision for myself, I had it set up. 3 days a week I was working, and then I was still studying full time, and I started realizing I was limited in what I could do. I started realizing maybe you're not superhuman, because in those first few years you can really just go on adrenaline. But let's face it, I only had so many hours, but I had a gigantic wait list and more potential clients than I could handle by myself offline. So I had two options to scale and serve more people. I could hire someone to work for me, take over some classes, but I didn't really want that. At the time, that didn't feel like the right step for me. And my second option was I could expand online with a less time-intensive offer that would actually allow me to help more people at the same time all over the world. So I started building my online business so I could impact more people, because I was just limited in what I could do offline. And I started pitching existing clients my online services first so I could test it out. So I was testing again, just like I had tested out my sessions in the beginning for free. But I did sell this to my clients. I was like, okay, so cool, you're training with me, but you also want my advice on how you can lose weight or whatever. It wasn't like that or whatever. It's just that my focus back then was for a part on weight loss. Right now, I'm not a fitness coach anymore. There's a lot of taboo about, like, can you help people with weight loss? I've lost quite a lot of weight actually myself in the past few months. In the past year, I've actually lost around 10 kilos, and I'm actually really proud of myself because I had gained weight due to a very sedentary lifestyle. You can imagine post-fitness coach, only business coach Amy sits down a lot more than fitness coach Amy. And I wasn't handling my stress well for a while. So I'm actually really proud that I lost the weight now, but I'm doing it in a way that is very good for me, that is very healthy without obsessing. And I think back then there was less information available online about, like, do we talk about fat loss or not, weight loss or not? And now it's all very much taboo to talk about that. But back then, that was what I knew, and I was helping people with weight loss. But after a while, I started realizing I'm not helping with weight loss. I'm actually helping women become confident. So that's how I started creating my online services. This was before Teachable, and systems like I use today made this easy. There weren't a lot of tutorials back then either. This is a long time ago. And I started creating my first online video series basically on how to get more food freedom and feel more comfortable in your skin. And I started helping my clients in real life with the training, and then online they could follow my video course. Now, I didn't have a video platform. I didn't have a course platform. I didn't know how to do this. I only knew what I had seen other people do, and I only knew I can have an Excel file and I can put in the names of the clients who have bought this from me. And I can list the dates and then see when they bought it and when they should get which video. I also had no videos. I had no editing skills. I had no camera. So what I did is I bought these two lights, not the lights that are now in my studio here. And I bought a Vimeo account, which is kind of like a private YouTube account where you can upload stuff in higher quality, list it privately. And I had to go to school and I had to see my clients, but I really wanted to get this off the ground because I wanted to reach more people. So what I did is I started recording at 6 a.m. and 11 p.m. I would always close the shutters, so it wouldn't matter. You wouldn't see any difference. But I didn't know how to edit videos. So I would have my MacBook that I used for school as well, and I would just record in one go and just talk to my webcam on my computer. And I'd just be like looking at myself on the screen at the same time, like, okay, smile at yourself. And I had to do everything in one take because I didn't know how to edit. And then I hacked myself by selling that as I was creating it. I think I've never sold anything that was ready by the time I have sold it. I always first sell something and then I create it. So just the first person who had bought the online video course from me about the food freedom thing was the person that I was probably creating the videos the day of. I think a lot of people look at me like, oh, you have your shit together. I don't. I just hack myself, so I have to get my shit together. So I would note in the Excel file, okay, they got this video. And then I would email them manually the video of the day so they could watch it with a couple of tasks. I ended up recording more than 30 videos that were all shot in one take only. And I taught myself how to smile in front of the camera because that's the only thing I knew. And, smiling is a really powerful thing. Imagine if I would be looking really grumpy right now. The entire time in front of the camera. You would hear it in my voice if you're listening to the podcast in audio only. And it's like when you're on the phone with someone, people can hear you smiling or not. And this is actually one of the first marketing and sales principles I ever taught myself. And this goes back 19 years ago when I had my first little jewelry business. In the first year that I was creating jewelry and selling jewelry, at a certain point, my mom took me to the seaside and I had brought with me all of the different things I had made. That year, by the way, I made 800 euros in profit in my first little business. Business with real money. I would create other businesses with my brothers in the woods near our house when I was younger, but then we would pay with like leaves. At 10 years old, my first business with actual money, that first year I made 800 euros in profit. And the way I made those 800 euros in profit was by smiling. And I remember being at the seaside that one day with my mom and having, this was my stock, all of the jewelry I hadn't made on demand from my mom's friends or people at school. And I remember just women walking by and looking at all of the jewelry set out, and I would just smile at them. And then I'd be like, let them be and let them come to me. And at the end of that day, that year, I know I had made 60 euros. And I remember sitting down with my mom in the car. So she was just lying on the beach the entire day. I was selling the entire day, talking to people like, oh, does this fit you? Does this fit you? And at the end of the day, I got into the car and I was like, I just made 60 euros. Again, I was 10 years old. This is 19 years ago. That was so much money. And it felt like it was purely profit because I had that stuff anyways. So I had already invested in, the little beads and stuff. And I was like, Mom, you know what? Selling is not difficult. You just have to smile at people. And she was like, you're right. It's not that difficult. And I think that's the first sales lesson I ever taught myself. Just smile. And when I was 15, I was working in a shoe store and I would just, people would walk in, and I know how it's so annoying when you walk into a store and people hover, When I walk into a store and someone is like, can I help you? I'm like, and I run out of the store. I really don't want to be helped unless I ask for help, but it's like frightening when you walk into a store and you just want to have a look around. So what I did when I was 15, I was like, okay, how would I behave when I'm a client or I'm a customer and I walk into this store? I wouldn't want to be like accosted. So I'm just going to smile at people and I'm just going to tell them like, hey, welcome. If you need any help, just let me know. And then I would pretend to be busy. so I wouldn't give them an awkward feeling. So that same sales lesson just got me there, and then I always had like returning clients, buy shoes and blah blah blah. By the time I was 17, I was like almost running that shoe store on the time off from high school. But yeah, I had a lot of fun there, and I just learned how to interact with people. And so smile is, if there's anything I could tell people, is when you're recording videos, teach yourself how to smile. When you talk to people, smile. Give that energy. Be enthusiastic. If you're not enthusiastic about what you have to say, why the fuck would anyone else love what you have to say or what you have to offer, right? So smile is, I think, one of my main relationship, business, marketing, sales principles I would love to teach just anyone. This is also not on my papers. I made all of this up. It's the first time I'm recording a podcast with papers because I have like 7 pages here of like my entire story. Yeah. So I was recording those videos. I remember showing the videos to my family, and they were like, "You recorded all of this in one take?" I was like, "Yeah." "You did this all yourself?" "Yeah." "When did you do this?" "At 6 a.m. And I was really proud. But it was a lot of work because at the end of the day, I was like, oh, I still have to eat, and then I have to find out in the Excel file who I'm sending the videos to. I didn't know how to create sequences. Looking back in hindsight, that already did exist. There were email service providers. What did I use back then? It was not ConvertKit. It was called something else. I don't remember, but I used a system. I could have created a sequence probably, but I just didn't know how that worked, piece together 30 emails and how would people get that immediately. I didn't know how to automate. I didn't know a lot other than how to talk to people, and that's what I started doing in those videos. Like, okay, just pretend like you're talking to one of your clients, because by then I had already had thousands of hours of experience of just talking to people one-on-one, and I tried to bring that over on video, which, by the way, brings me to something else that I want you to do other than smiling on video is, for the love of God, if you're creating Instagram stories or any type of stories or videos, please remember that on the other side of the phone is only one person. I see so many people saying you, plural, in stories like, hey guys, there are no guys at the other end of the screen. There are no multiples. It's just one person looking at their phone, looking at your story. So talk to one person. Shit, as I'm saying this, have I made this mistake in the podcast? I should also be thinking about you in the car, cleaning, walking, listening to my podcast episode here and now. Also just one person. In Dutch, we say jullie. And whenever I say someone saying jullie in stories, I want to punch them in the face. So please don't make me want to punch you in the face. Remember that on the other end of the screen is someone who wants you to smile at them, and there is only one person. If this is too rude for you, you should not sign up for my business summer school. You should not sign up for my coaching, because I'm a very loving coach. But I'm not as rude as I was, by the way. Am I this rude in coaching calls? No, less rude. Is it okay that I was rude right now? It's definitely okay. It just really annoys me. Then I have to think of like Peter Griffin in Family Guy who's like, you know what grinds my gears? When people say, hey guys, in stories, or just use multiple. There's only one person on the other end of the screen. Okay, so that's how I got started with that first online sequence thing. I was selling that at 165 euros a package. I don't know how long the package took. 30 videos, but not a month. It was longer. My business was fully booked. My online business was soaring. And I had a lot of mandatory classes. So I was spending a lot of time in class, just pretending I was there. I don't really know. I was just building a website. So I created, through ClickFunnels back in the day, I created my first membership. And it was called the Lift Your Life Hub. And I got members at a 50 euro subscription a month. And each month there would be new recipes, new workouts, all kinds of stuff. All of that got completely out of control. I was on a date a few days ago, and I was explaining how I built my business. And he was like, okay, so when you mean it got out of hand, do you mean that in a positive way? I was like, yeah. I just had way more people asking me for stuff than I had time to give it. So that's how I build things. Because it's always good to build from a need. So as I was finishing up my business degree, building the online business, scaling down my in-person clients to kind of look at how my energy was doing well, because I'm actually very introverted and highly sensitive. So you can imagine how 30 hours of classes and 30 hours of clients was not the best thing ever. Something strange happened. More and more people, especially personal trainers, came to me and they asked me how I had built up my business, even though I was still in school full time. And my friend Jessica and I, we hosted our first workshops detailing what we had learned in our own businesses, because we were like, oh, we made a lot of mistakes. Maybe we can teach others how to, prevent making these mistakes. And these workshops started selling out immediately. And all of a sudden, I was building a second business. I still have so much more to talk about, because then this thing happens, you're like, oh shit, people are asking me questions. But I thought I was going to be a fitness trainer for the rest of my life. And all of a sudden, I had the business degree. People were asking me business questions. And again, there was so much demand and I didn't have enough time to offer to people. So I started pivoting, not for the money. A lot of people think you pivot for the money. For me, it was really like, oh, I really want to help people, because I see like, oh, confidence is like the thing that is combining these things. I love coaching. I love business. Maybe I'm not forever made to be a personal trainer, because I don't love personal training anymore. I started kind of losing the joy. I started feeling it's time to pivot. And I'm going to tell you how I pivoted in the next episode. So if you're listening here and the other episode is out, you can just click to the next episode. If you're here and you are liking this episode, please come and tell me on Instagram or subscribe. This is a big part of my story, and how I got my first financial stability and independence is building that first business. So maybe if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, you can let me know what you're thinking of this so far. And I already said it, but I'm hosting this business school this summer. It's the only time you're going to get free access to this. So make sure you do not miss out. If you're looking currently to get more, controlling your finances, you want to start building something, maybe you want to start a side hustle, maybe you've been in business for a while, but you need to kind of, get control back and want to build towards a wealthy future, I would love to have you in my business school this summer. You can just go to fastforwardamy.com/bus and you're going to get the really valuable, like a summer school program for me for free if you're there on time. If you're listening to this later on, you can still go to that link and check out what we have to offer to you, because we're going to turn this into a paid program. And if you like the stuff I'm talking about in this story, the summer school program or the business school is actually going to help you to achieve all of this, but in a way faster period of time. Okay, thanks for listening to the Fast Forward Amy Show. I hope you like this. I really, really hope you like this. I think people think, I have a lot of followers and I've been at this for 10 years or 19 years, however you look at it, and that I don't appreciate feedback anymore. I do want to say, if you have criticism to give, please be kind, because it's not always fun to get so much criticism. But I want to say, if you have good stuff to tell me, please tell me good stuff. I really, really enjoy getting good messages, and especially on Apple Podcasts. I'm a little bit ashamed to say that I never use this as a call to action and never ask people to, leave a review. So there are no more recent reviews on Apple Podcasts. If you like the podcast, go and leave me a review. Tell me what you like and what you would like to hear more of about this story, for example, and then I can read your review, and that makes me happy. Thanks for listening to the Fast Forward Amy Show. Every week on Tuesday, we have a new episode all about how you can become more financially independent with your business, how you can live your life and, create your own fuck yes life and business. So tune in again for the next episode on Tuesday.